Ben Ennis is here. What's up?
Hey.
Yeah, hey.
I don't know if I've seen that hat on you. It's a nice hat.
Thank you. Yeah, it is a nice hat.
I thought I knew your whole wardrobe. Is it
That's
new?
good. Yeah, I was gonna say you're oddly, for a guy who gets dressed in the dark.
I like literally. That's not.
I know.
It's twofold.
I know.
It's also a dig at me, but it's just
No.
factually correct.
I meant it the way I said it.
Which
Fact.
Yeah, I know. But when you say I meant it the way I said it, it
No,
sounded
I
like
don't
an
mean.
insult.
No, but I'm saying that you don't care at all. You basically show up. You're dressing yourself in the dark, and yet you oddly are a, what is the word the youths use? God, Armin, buzz this in my ear. One of the youths. It's like a fit checker, like an outfit watcher, something along those lines. Yeah, that's a thing among the youth. And well, yeah, because we live in Instagram culture, right? So it's if you post in the same outfit kind of thing.
I feel like shoes and hats. I'm like,
you're more
top
than
or the
that.
bottom. Like
No,
I
you're
don't. The
top
rest of
or
it.
the bottom.
Yeah, the bookends
Yeah, okay.
of the human being is what I'm most interested in.
Well, we're hoping that you notice Kyle Tucker in a Blue Jays hat, and that you're all about it. You go, I want that one. I want that Blue Jays hat. So Will Salmon of The Athletic reporting the Mets have an offer on the table for Kyle Tucker of 120 to 140 million over 3 years. Jesse Rogers, as well as our Ben Nicholson-Smith, both reporting, actually, and Jeff Passan as well, because I saw that this morning, that all three of them are coming together to basically say the same thing, which is that the Blue Jays remain in the Kyle Tucker sweepstakes and that they are still his best bet at a long-term offer. I want to get your read on this. I'll just say this to start. It feels to me as though this reporting that this thing could get done very soon, that now we're actually, I'd be pretty surprised at this point if 2 weeks from now we're talking and it's still Kyle Tucker hasn't signed somewhere. That this is now ramping up, and the expectation for me is that he signs within now a week's time. So from now to next Wednesday, I would be pretty surprised if it extends beyond that.
I gotta think it's gonna happen before the weekend.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that there does feel like there's some real urgency to this now. That this is ramped up now in a meaningful way. We got real numbers.
Yeah. And you know why we got real numbers? I mean, if you're the most optimistic about Kyle Tucker in a Blue Jays uniform, this is the opinion. But I don't think it's an unreasonable one.
No, this is what I want to do. So go ahead.
Yeah, I think if you're the most optimistic, you're like, yeah, Kyle Tucker, yeah, all the reporting is right. Blue Jays have the only longer-term offer, and it's not for a pittance. It's not like, hey, we're going to extend this thing to 10, 15 years and get that AAV down to $12 million. No, he's going to be averaging at least $30 million a year, somewhere close to a decade in length. And maybe it's not $400 million, but maybe it's close.
No, it's not. It's not going to be close.
Okay, but it's over 300, I would think.
So BNS, he put this in his article, so I don't think that, and I read it after, but we were texting last night, throwing out our best guesses. My guess was 315 over 8. His guess was 285 over 8.
Okay. Either way, it seems like the Blue Jays are the only ones out there who I think rightly recognize that Kyle Tucker didn't have a down year. He wasn't as good in the second half as he was the first half after he broke his hand.
I have thoughts on this, but yes, go on.
Sliding into second base.
Yep.
And there is no proof of concept of him fading down the stretch of seasons. One of his best OPS months is August and September. He's been great. Anyways, if you were the most optimistic about him being a Toronto Blue Jay, you would say this is because we are headed towards end game here with the contract thing. It's, hey, how confident are you, Blue Jays, that you don't need to move your offer? Because, there's $50 million out there for 1 or 2 or 3 years, and that is a viable option for us. Maybe we will do that. And so it's incumbent on the Blue Jays to either call his bluff or say, okay, maybe a couple extra ducats on the contract to get this thing all wrapped up and tied up in a bow.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah, so you agree with me?
Yeah, no, I agree with you here's where I agree. That this is leaked by the Kyle Tucker camp.
Unquestionably.
And that they're put, to me, this is my read. Again, this is a idiot's guide to free agency.
Yeah. Idiot to idiot. Let's go.
Yeah. What is that? There was that great show that Ricky Gervais was about, Idiot Abroad. That's me. Idiot in free agency. I don't know anything.
Yeah.
My read is this. If you're Kyle Tucker's camp, you're really now considering the 150 because of what I have said all along. If you're Kyle Tucker, you're looking at this and you're his agent saying, why would I not be getting a huge deal? Why is everyone being offered huge deals that is of my ilk? Why did we go into free agency last year when Vladdy got his $500 million and there was a real month where people went, well, Kyle Tucker is raking right now and Vladdy is struggling. What's Kyle Tucker going to get? Wow, you know who the biggest winner is of the Vladdy contract? Other than Vladdy himself, it's Kyle Tucker. That somehow, somewhere along the way of what was a good season for our Kyle Tucker that you just outlined, yes, had some bad break injury luck with his hand, and he wasn't the same guy when he returned with the hand injury. Sure. Why did we go from a world where we were talking about $400 million to, hey, it's going to be difficult for this guy to crack $300 million? What happened? So if I'm him and I'm getting this offer from the Blue Jays, that is, let's just say it's BNS's guess that he put into his article. That's why I don't think I'm, doing text to air here. But let's say it's 285, which still, possibly if it's 120 to 140 as Will Sam is putting
what was the annual average value on that? Did you do the
but
math already?
No, but let's just hold on. I think it's like 35 somewhere. Okay. So if it's 120 to 140, you're still talking about he's getting double the money in the $100+ million category. Like you look at that and go, hey man, kind of a no-brainer for to take double the money. Hey, the market is the market and it's not what you hoped it to be, but ultimately this is the safest path. But I've said this all along for Kyle Tucker is he's still young enough where I do wonder if he takes the 150, he tells everyone, okay, well, I'm getting $150 million for only 3 of the years. But if I rake next season, if I'm phenomenal next season, then there will be some remorse in the market that we didn't sign you. But also, this would be my gambit if I'm him. This is the way that I'd be thinking about it. If he rakes with the Mets and they just watched Edwin Diaz walk out the door, they've had the dysfunction that they've had. They just watched Pete Alonso walk out the door. There's all this pressure on Steve Cohen because Mets fans are apoplectic about the offseason. If he becomes a figurehead of that Mets offense and they make the playoffs and they make a deep run, let's say they knock out the Dodgers, how are you going to be able to turn down Kyle Tucker at whatever price point that he wants to Steve Cohen? You know what I'm saying? So all of a sudden there is a bit of a leverage shift for him if he is willing to really bet on himself and his talent. To me, there is a path there. But if you're the Blue Jays and you get that 150 offer and you're signaling to the league, hey, he's actually strongly considering this, and you're sitting there at 285, to me, it's the easiest move of all time. You bump it up over $300 million.
Sure.
Just optically, it looks so much nicer. Yeah. You say, here's 310. Yeah. We came up. Hey, that's not nothing.
No, sure. Fine.
We're giving you, another $25 million on this deal.
Whatever.
Sign on the dotted line. Get this thing done. And if you're Kyle Tucker, this is the part that spooks me a little, okay? Can I give you the spooky, scary part of me?
Sure.
So we would all take the money, right?
Any money.
No, but I'm just saying.
Wait, what is the scenario?
Yeah.
What money?
Yeah, we would take any money. But
what?
I don't think there are very many people who are built in a way where they would say, if I can get double my money or bet on myself and maybe get not double, but an extra percentage point on this, most people would say you are a lunatic to pass on the long-term deal.
Yeah.
I agree. And there's no shade at Kyle Tucker for this. However, athletes are supposed to be built a little different, right?
Yeah.
I know. You see where I'm going with this, right?
Yeah, okay, because you're saying that Kyle Tucker is going to think like us instead of like Alex Bregman or Pete Alonso?
Yeah, no. But in doing so...
Yeah, he's going to signal that he's like, I don't want the smoke in New York, and also I want the certainty not bet on myself with the short-term deal.
Well, when there's rumors that people say you're not really in love with baseball...
Yeah.
And that I do think, like, when you talk about, hey, it's not about September, it's not about his late season numbers, it's not about the body of work that he's put together, so what is it? And we're all trying to figure out, like, why Won't the market pay Kyle Tucker what a guy like Kyle Tucker should get? It's difficult for me to hear from multiple people now. This isn't just like a one-off thing about the love of baseball quotient and the dog in him, that maybe that's the part of why he's not getting paid. So if he does take the Blue Jays offer, is there no part of you that looks at that going, and using Rendon is too strong, right? There's only one Rendon. He's the GOAT. He's going to forever be the GOAT. Nobody hates baseball more than Anthony Rendon, and there's never going to be a worse free agency contract, like just period.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. I don't know.
No, it's like Groucho Marx. It's like, I would never be part of a club that would have me as a member.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. That's great. I love that.
It's a different sport. I really do think it's not a try-hard sport.
I'm overthinking this because it's been 3 months of Kyle Tucker talk.
It's going to your conclusion here.
And I want Kyle Tucker desperately.
Do I think Kyle Tucker is built the same way that, I don't know, take your dirtbag du jour? Like, is he built the same way as Ernie Clement?
Du jour.
Do I think he's built the same way as Ernie Clement?
We should make that a segment, the dirtbag du jour.
Yeah, I think he's a better baseball player than Ernie Clement, but do I think he's like Mr. Cares as much as Ernie Clement? Maybe not.
I don't know at all. But it's just that there's enough people in baseball that have put that out there that I go, is this?
Sure.
But I don't know if I'm being manipulated, right?
Right.
If this is a situation.
That's like the Yankees were never going to go to his number anyway.
Right.
So it's like, hey, Yankee fans, don't worry. You don't want this guy.
Yeah, like we watched this guy for 2 months and he's actually an absolute dog. And it just turns out that he's got one of those faces where it doesn't look like he's hyper intense all the time. So people hit him with that label. And then you watch him for a month and go, why did we ever even talk about this?
Yeah.
Like, you think he's what? He's not going to dive for a fly ball? Right. He's not going to lock in at the plate?
Right?
That's
like,
what I mean.
He's not going into the corner. He's not.
No, you literally have to be Anthony Rendon where you go, I'm not feeling it today. I'm not going to play.
You literally, and it would be not playing through injuries or not trying your hardest to stay at the top
But
of your
again,
craft.
we have no evidence of this.
None.
Yeah.
None.
You know what? Media's lying to you again. Big media is out there lying to your face.
Anyways, but to the earlier point about the Mets, the $50 million a year and what he could earn, and boy, people reminded how great a player he is. He's a very, very good player. Great player, depending on how you define great. Here's what he's not. And like, I understand it's not a long-term deal at that number. He's not a $50 million a year player. Guess what? He'll be playing in an outfield with a $50 million a year player who's worth $51 million a year in Juan Soto. Guess what you're going to be able to tell?
I think Juan Soto's the only guy that makes that, right?
Yeah, he makes $51 million a year, and he has an opt-out too. Like, imagine how, I guess if this continues, maybe he'll opt out in 5 years or whatever it is. Anyways, Juan Soto, guess what? As horrifyingly bad as the Mets were, Juan Soto was unbelievable. Like,
minus the first 2 months.
What? Who cares though? Like, that baseball is not that sport where you get to pick and choose what part of the season you like. Like, he had he led the National League with a 396 on base. He was a 921 OPS guy. He stole a league high 38 bases to go with his 43 home runs. You know what Kyle Tucker's career high in home runs is? It's 30. He did it twice.
I was going to say
he did it twice.
It's 31, but
No, it's 30 on the nose. He did that twice. 2024 was on pace for his greatest breakout. Holy cow, this is a new ceiling for this guy, because he basically had his career averages in half a year, but he only played half a year. He had 78 games, and he hit 23 home runs, had a 4.7 WAR on Baseball Reference, which would have been like right in there for his career averages, except he only played half a year. If he played that whole season out, then there's a different ceiling for him. But no, he played the next season out. Very good player. OPS plus the exact same as when he finished 5th in MVP voting. That's a very good player. It's not a $50 million a year player. So you're telling me, like, even having a normal Kyle Tucker season, unless Kyle Tucker does think that there's like, he's about to have this totally different season than he's ever had in his career at 30 years old, you think they're going to look at Kyle Tucker, they're going to look at Juan Soto, they're going to look at the numbers at the end of the year and like, the Major League Baseball will look at, man, we were way wrong. This guy is Juan Soto. He's not Juan Soto. He's just not. He's an incredible player.
Yeah,
better defender, and he also steals bases. But yeah, Juan Soto had a league leading total in stolen bases last year. He's not Juan Soto. Juan Soto can hit you 50 bombs. Kyle Tucker, until proven otherwise, cannot.
So I think MLB Network put out a list of their top 100 players this week. Well, I know they did that, but I think that they ranked him 16th. No, they ranked him 14th one spot behind Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Like top 100 players.
Yeah, and clearly they don't put pitchers in, like Tarek Skubal's the only pitcher in the top. No, there's two pitchers in the top 15.
Yeah.
Skeens comes in at 15th, and Skubal comes in 11th.
Mm-hmm.
I actually disagree with this list to a certain degree with Vladdy. Like, would you rather have Vladimir Guerrero Jr. next season or Bryce Harper?
Yeah, it's so hard. Like Vladdy, I guess, but Bryce Harper has reached higher highs than Vladdy ever has during a regular season.
Would you rather have Freddie Freeman next year or Vlad Jr.?
The age difference makes it extreme.
Yeah, because Freddie Freeman's at 8 and Vladdy's at 13. So anyway, like it's, to me personally, it's not a perfect list, and I'm sure people look at Kyle Tucker being at 14 and like Ronald Acuna Jr. being at 16 and say, well, that's a no-brainer for me. I'd rather have a Ronald Acuna Jr., whatever. The point is that he is pretty well, when you look at this list and you see these names, kind of undeniably one of the best 20 players in baseball. The lowest that you're going to put him is that. For the Blue Jays, they got to be looking at this. When you say the $50 million a year thing, that's the part of it that is difficult for them, and people don't want to hear it, but to me it's very true, where when they're talking about, or when a guy like me says, we'll just up it another $20 million, you go, well, next year, because of that luxury tax penalty that they're going to be paying, it isn't just the extra couple $1 million. You're talking about a significant amount, because it's 90% of his contract is going to be counted against the luxury tax as well. So basically, you're going to be paying double his contract, whatever you pay him in that first year. It's a big commitment.
Well, I mean, there's what, $80 million coming off the books next year.
No. But that's the case for signing him, is that you long term are not in this luxury tax hell.
Yeah. That
it's a 1-year bullet that you're biting, and you're essentially giving back all of your profits from the World Series run. You're saying, hey,
I think it's what is the publicly reported number, $100 million. I think what the Blue Jays and Rogers gained beyond what
question.
Is like publicly available, and even if you're just talking about vibes or whatever, it's unquantifiable.
And just demand coming into the season, all that different stuff. Okay. So I'm not even just talking about, like, the only reason that I bring that up is they have signed more players in free agency than everybody else.
Correct.
They already are paying the CBT.
Yep.
And if they do sign Kyle Tucker, it is a incredibly hefty bill for these guys to be paying. So I understand the counter of, we'll just go up another $10 million, and them going,
we're already at this place. And again, it's not a pittance. Like, they're going to average over $30 million a season. Like, Vladdy's not making $40 million a season. It's close, but it's not quite.
And from Kyle Tucker's standpoint, if you're the Jays, you're looking at it and say, again, that it is right around $300 million, and he's getting offered $150. Going, we're offering you double the money.
Yeah.
If you choose that destination, we do think that we can face our fan base and say, we offered him double the money, and he chose to go to the Mets or to the Dodgers, and he took less, and he bet on himself. We weren't willing to do some high AAV short-term deal because of our competitive tax situation and the uncertainty. We're looking at this as a long-term investment, not a short-term one. Most fans should be able to reconcile with that and say, yeah, I get it. I get that you didn't want to pay Kyle Tucker $150 million a year with the potential of him opting out next season, the year where you actually have the money, and he could just end up walking away.
Yeah, because even in this $150 million 3-year deal, there's probably an opt-out after every year.
Of course there is. What I do think is true is, now that we have this number, there is added pressure on the Blue Jays to get this thing done when it comes to the long-term deal. That I don't know what his number is going to be. Obviously, there's a price point that is unreasonable. I think that the idea that he wouldn't want to play in Toronto is nonsense.
Yeah.
That there's nothing to indicate that. There's no reason to believe that.
Because he doesn't want the smoke. I mean, sorry.
No. But the smoke, you think that the Mets have more pressure on them next year than the Toronto Blue Jays do?
Oh, I think it's, man.
If the Blue Jays fail, let's say if the Blue Jays have a horrible season, you don't think fans are going to be so choked?
No question about it. Absolutely. And it's not going to be
like
quiet.
The Raptors got the 2020 season because they won a championship. These guys didn't win.
Totally. It's a different deal, man. Like, I'm not going to compare this market for any other sport other than hockey to New York freaking City. I'm like, I'm just not. Like, it's
But the second team in New York City.
still, it's
Come on.
no,
They're baby bro.
Look at the stories and the investigations and the reporting that's come out of that
deal
Mets.
with Frank Fleming.
Since that Mets nightmare tire fire of a season, it's a different animal.
Yeah.
You're fooling yourself if you think it's the same. No, it's not nothing. It's not Cincinnati here.
Yeah.
It's huge market. You actually get the best of all worlds because it's like you win. Boy, hard to imagine it being more exciting than it was last fall in this city. And if you lose, man, you're going to hear it from the fans. And like, there's going to be lots of questions, but it won't be as much as New York City. And yeah, you get to play with some great players. You get to be a World Series favorite. But yeah, to compare when it's bad here, and I wouldn't want it. It probably is better to be bad in Cincinnati than it is in Toronto. Unquestionably, it's better to be bad in Pittsburgh than it is in Toronto as a Blue Jay. But it's not as bad as it is in New York City, even if you're a Mets player. Or, I mean, look at the Yankees. The Yankees have made the playoffs, right? Aaron Boone's been fired midseason by the fans and the media, every year? Every single year that he's been the manager of that team?
I would say rightfully so, but yeah.
Well, and they won 94 games a year ago and got all the way to Game 4 against the eventual American League champion Blue Jays, right? No, it's just it's not the same when things are bad. Now, hockey, different deal. Like, yeah, Leafs, separate category. But when we're talking about baseball, Toronto and New York, not the same market.
Okay, so last things on this, though. Would you agree that this does ramp up the pressure on the Blue Jays, and are you more optimistic or pessimistic upon hearing these reports?
Optimistic. I think this is a flail. Like, I think this is last chance. And I compare it to like when I bought my last house, the second house I ever bought, where it's like last chance that the real estate agent comes to you and they're like, you don't know, there's another bidder out there. Like last chance to up your offer. You don't know. Like you could be just so close. And
did you do it?
No.
Okay.
I stood firm because I was like,
that's
you're bluffing.
That's great.
Part of it was like we weren't sure if we were that enenamed with the house. We weren't going to be devastated if we didn't get it anyways. It was kind of, oh, you got it. And we were like,
you hear that, children of Ennis?
We're like, and now we got to sell our old house. Oh my God. Yeah. Anyways, but no, do the Mets feel like they're operating like a team that's going to hand somebody $50 million a season as they watch their beloved closer walk out the door for a pittance?
No, I believe the Mets offer 120 to 140.
Sure.
So I believe their offer. My fear is that this is an Alex Bregman situation. Like you saw the reporting that they did on Foul Territory, right?
Oh, yeah, the Red Sox stuff?
Yeah, just that basically Bregman said they have a higher offer. It was the opposite of your house analogy.
Yeah.
They went, we have this offer.
Sure you do, buddy.
Yeah, and they went, okay. And then you're on the streets.
Yeah.
And that's where the Red Sox are.
And I think part of it, though, is it started in a negative place where it's like, that's not my market. And the Red Sox are like, sure it is, buddy. Yeah. Let's see what you got out there.
No doubt. And there was the no trade clause thing. Yeah. There's a whole bunch of different stuff to it. But if I'm boiling it down simplistically, they did your house analogy.
Yeah.
They went, we need another $10 million. And the Red Sox went, no, you don't.
Yeah.
And I'm saying for the Blue Jays that even if I wouldn't be calling the bluff, essentially, that if the price to get this guy is another $10 to $15 million, as big of an ask as that is when you are already the team that's sitting there going, we are the only ones offering you long-term financial security. I saw there's one of the Blue Jays Twitter accounts I really like, this guy Damon. He tweeted, Kyle Tucker is not a luxury, he's a necessity. And I saw that tweet and I went, I agree. Yeah. I'm not at the position where like everyone has said the same thing and we're all doing the same guarded take, which is, yes, the Blue Jays have had a really good offseason, but it could be a great offseason. Yeah. It's now come down to the point with Kyle Tucker where they've gone so far with this guy. And, you know, you and I have done the stuff about free agents and how they've gotten the Gossmans and they've gotten the George Springers. But to go toe-to-toe with the Dodgers and the Mets and actually pull a guy when you're trying to win a World Series of this acclaim, right? Top 16 player in baseball. Yeah. That's a different kind of needle mover for your organization from an optic standpoint in terms of who you are as a franchise. The Red Sox going, we're not paying $10 million extra for a 3-4 win player in a division where 3-4 wins is pretty critical.
Yeah.
The Blue Jays saying we're going to go pay this luxury tax, and we were the only team that ponied up the $300 million in order to sign one of the top guys when the market for his long-term services was actually a little depressed, and that we stepped up and we spent the extra $15 million to get it over the goal line. When you said the thing about the Blue Jays, that the World Series run did more for them than just the $100 million that they made during the playoffs, I totally agree with that. It's the same logic to me that should apply to giving Kyle Tucker that extra little bit of money that would get this thing done for him in the long term, if that is the case. Like if they are giving you that price point where they're going, your offer's $285, we want $310, or we want $305. I'm doing that.
Sure.
It's not my money, so it's easy to say.
It's so easy.
I know that's
like,
such a.
I'd be like, make sure there's no doubt. $350. Like what? I guess.
Yeah.
Sure.
No, but yeah, you're right. That was stupid, but it is.
I think you're onto something though when you're talking about the necessity and not a luxury.
Well, that's Damon's thing.
Okay, Damon.
He's on to something. Yeah.
I follow a lot of Blue Jays guys. I don't know who.
Yeah, he's good.
Damon Allen.
Yeah.
It's Damon Allen.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
No,
this guy's probably like 23 years old.
No, he's a Red Sox guy.
Yeah.
Anyways, he's 23.
I don't know. He seems young.
Okay. Anyways, to the necessity part, 2027 is the necessity. 2026, you can maybe get by and hope that George Springer one more kick of the can and he can do it again. And Okamoto, okay, sure, maybe. And you know what? Your pitching is better, so maybe you don't need to be the best offensive team in baseball from like May onwards. 2027, you don't want to have Scott Boras have the gun to your head with a Dalton Varsho fully healthy 35 home run season, right? And then the specter of losing Gausman and Springer and Bieber.
Varsho.
Yeah, well, it started with Varsho. But yeah, no, 2027 is where it's a real necessity. And I'm with you, counting on the same offense out of the same group of players in 2026 is troubling. And you know also.
Especially when you are losing Bo, who wasn't – people love to do the whole, well, Bo wasn't there for the playoff run. I actually happen to recall a time where Bo Bichette got injured in the Yankee series, and then they almost pissed the division away.
Yeah.
And how critical winning the American League East was, and how crucial Bo Bichette was to this baseball team for a huge stretch of the season. And the idea that Okamoto is going to fully replace that offense.
No, it's crazy.
Come on, man. Like, what do we? I'm trying to buy in on all the Okamoto stock possible, and I really do think that he has massive fan favorite potential. We went over this, but no, if your bat move, like let's just be real here. This is what I'm saying about the offseason. If they bring in Dylan Cease and 2 pitchers and bring in only 1 bat who is worse than Bo Bichette, and you're looking at the same position that the Blue Jays have always put themselves in, which is they go, we believe in positive regression, right? Yeah. And we believe David Popkins is going to change things, which he did. Yeah. You also have to think and plan for the idea that there is negative regression throughout this roster, especially considering the way that they hit in the World Series run.
The other thing that is confusing to me is Bo Bichette apparently is going to get his. Like, he's getting his.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's $300 million, but like multiple long-term offers for him, and the Phillies are hot and bothered. He's younger than Kyle Tucker, not like significantly so. Kyle Tucker's a better player than Bo Bichette. Like,
he is.
Yeah, like I don't. Is there anyone that disagrees with that? And also, like, if your injury concern thing is the Kyle Tucker of it all, and not Bo Bichette, despite the fact they played basically the same number of games the last 2 seasons, I'm not following. I'm not following the logic here. And lastly, on Tucker,
my only thing in terms of the logic would just be you always sort of feel like you can paper together a corner outfield spot more than you do an infielder.
I mean, you can probably find an infielder with a glove.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying a guy that has that bat who's going to lead the league in hits if he's healthy.
Yeah, I mean,
and
about a guy that has a 370 on base percentage.
Yeah, I'm not. This isn't me discounting Kyle Tucker. I'm just saying you asked the question, and I'm trying to answer it with the only reasonable explanation I have, which is okay. Sorry, my bad.
I will say,
don't podcast this. Don't put it in the podcast feed. Take that part out. And the part where I just said, spend all the money. That's my fake money.
The last thing on the Tucker of it all, and like, ooh, do you really want him if he doesn't want the smoke? you know we're going to do the opposite. If he does sign the Mets thing, it's like, oh, he doesn't want the smoke. He wants the team that has no chance of winning next year. You know, they got worse after winning 83 games and didn't make the playoffs, as opposed to the one he could have been hoisting the commissioner's trophy over his head and could have been arm in arm with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. for the next decade.
The Yankees, didn't want to face the Orioles. His American League East was too tough for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coward.
Yeah.
Is what we'll be saying.
Yeah.
But
I'm optimistic.
So am I.
And that scares me. It does, because it sets you up for the crushing.
Oh yeah, but come on. You gotta love, even though you've loved and lost. Now you're setting yourself up to love. The Blue Jays have made you love again. You know, the Dylan Cease thing with the 210.
Yeah.
Like, you can love, you can believe that what they're selling is being bought by the players, because you have proof of concept multiple different times. Everybody says the same thing. You know, they want to be in Toronto.
When I look at the breadcrumbs of this, it's so hard not to look at it and go, are you really going to take $140 million from the Mets with opt-outs?
Yeah, I don't get it.
Over 280 plus from the Blue Jays for a long-term deal to play for a World Series contender where a bunch of your buddies are, and you get to be down near your home when you're at the Florida complex.
Yep.
It's just so hard to look at it and go, like, to me, if you're doing the Mets thing, it's actually more they're trying to use the Dodgers to say, move your number to the $50 million a season for the 3-year deal, because that's more compelling to me than going to the Mets. Like, if I have a chance to win a World Series and be on the best baseball team, and you're offering me the $250 with the opt-outs, okay, now I'm considering this more. But the Mets situation compared to if it's just Mets versus Toronto, I love it for Toronto. The scary part is if he's not doing this to try to get the Blue Jays to move the number up, he's trying to get the Dodgers to move the number up.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense, too.
Yeah.
That was smart. You redeemed yourself.
Thanks.
That was pretty smart.
I had to really try. I had to lock in.
So you know what?
Yeah.
You know what? You make a compelling argument. Blue Jays should just give him $600 million.
Yeah, it's not our money. And then Rogers decides to fold the media division.
Oh, no. Yeah. No, I'm optimistic. And I also think there's something to them being in on Kyle Tucker when he was first on the Astros trade block, right? Like, I think they were having legitimate conversations about him. I think they've waited for his free agency. I think they've made communication right off the get-go, and their offer has probably been the best since the start of this thing. Not that that has everything to do with it, but again, going back to the Bregman of it all, it kind of did eventually play a big part in it, because the Red Sox were like, oh, well, what can we do? It's like, it's too late, man. Like, enough. Like, you don't care enough. Like, Blue Jays care. And talked to Tyler Rogers last week. And
yeah, they made George Springer go hang out with them at a golf event.
Yeah, with the buffer of Michael Brantley. But
yeah. Yeah, Michael Brantley had to be there to be like, George, cool it, man. That was the clause.
Take it easy.
Yeah. George is. Any more thoughts?
George sucked it up, and he went to TGL, even though maybe he didn't want to. It's like maybe like I don't want to travel to go watch virtual golf. Like, maybe I can just watch it on TV. And they're like, no, go.
Yeah, you
go
gotta
for
go.
us.
You gotta show up there.
Yeah.
Funny seeing you here. Yeah. All right, let's take a quick break. We're going to do a segment in honor of Mitch Marner. Follow us on Twitter at JD Bunkis, at Sportsnet Ben. Reach out anytime on Instagram at JD Bunkis. By the way, I just discovered something on Instagram, which I got Hockey Illuminati later, I'm going to confess, which is like very, very old of me. But yeah, I've been trying to go through a lot of messages lately, and yeah, there's been some good stuff in there that I've thought of. Anyway, Marner stuff segment in honor of Mitch Marner next. So I mentioned I have Hockey Illuminati coming up, Frank Crupi, and we are going to talk about Leafs fan feel heading into the first game against Mitch Marner, which is tomorrow night. So get ready for a lot of Marner talk over the next couple of days, not just from myself, but from everyone. And I do have a take about how in this moment it doesn't feel as big as I expected it to be at the very beginning of the season. There's been so many highs and lows with the Leafs year. They've got their own problems to worry about that maybe I'll feel differently when it's home or, he gets welcomed back to Toronto with some booze or what those booze look like. But my overall sense is that people are not obsessing over this game or foaming at the mouth for this game the way that normally a sports market that gets rejected by someone, especially like a hometown kid, would.
Mm-hmm.
But I still believe that if you polled Leafs fans, and it's sports hate, for God's sakes, most fans that are actual Leaf fans hate Mitch Marner now. Would you agree with that premise?
I don't know how you can have another
Okay,
opinion.
yeah. Well, there's people that just decided to continuously root for him, and they feel like he was the sympathetic party.
Yeah, they're the Brad Marchands.
Yeah. There's a, I would say, a decent
You were too mean.
faction of that. Yeah. No, I do. So in honor of Mitch Marner's return, I thought we would do a list of things we hate.
When you proposed this,
Yeah.
I think both of us had a chuckle about how long our list would be.
They ended up both being very long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even I'm surprised at how quickly it just flowed for me.
It's
to come up with this list.
I would say that this is actually a revealing segment for you to the audience, because same thing, if you just did the old straw poll,
Yeah.
my guess is most people would think I'm the one who's the bigger hater than you, which is not true.
I know, I hate so much.
Yeah. I'm far more of an optimistic person than you are, and a lot of conversations that we have privately involve me being like, I don't know, I could see the...
Can we actually, now that you say that, you need to find some other tie-in, or maybe we'll just do it because we have to, like, do the things we like the most. Like
Later?
Yeah, like some other show. Because that's a grind.
Yeah,
that is a
tough.
grind.
Yeah, that'd be hard work. I don't want to give homework. All right, so things we hate. You want to start?
Okay, I tried to do an equal mix of sports and non-sports
Same.
here. Should I like ease
I don't care.
into
Just start however you want.
Because I was gonna rank.
Do you want me to start? Like, are
Yeah,
you
go
just
ahead. You
feeling
start.
like too much pressure?
You start. Yeah, I don't because I don't know the tenor exactly. But you go ahead.
Yeah. When someone comments "slow news day?" ?
Oh yeah, no, that's brutal.
It gets me every time. I'm embarrassed at how much that can actually affect my mood. And I understand that there are a lot of topics and there are a lot of things that people see that we do for a living and go, you're making something out of nothing, or you're doing this for reasons we don't really understand. But it's not true. Most people here, we show up, we have to do a job, and this is podcasters, TV people, or radio people, whatever, where you're paid to give an opinion on topics.
Right.
That's not supposed to be whatever it is that is your opinion. How can you not have the idea that there's like a whole big wide world out there full of diverse opinions who don't look at everything the way that you do? Like, it's the easiest perspective to have. And so you might not agree, you might not like the content, but when you hit somebody with the slow news day, that aggravates me more so than the runners up they're doing it for the clicks, and this didn't age well.
Oh my God, all those are brothers, and and not
it just takes no skill, no creativity. It's brutal.
And I know you don't do that. I don't do that, like fabricating an opinion. But what we will do is like dig hard to see like what is like a kind of a contrary and interesting opinion that is not as obvious. Is not common.
The easiest thing to do is just go with whatever the groupthink is and try to extrapolate that into a long-winded segment where all you're trying to do is appease what you think is the majority of an audience.
Okay, I'll do one that I'm thinking the most about actually right now.
Yeah.
Because it happened to me over the weekend.
Oh, I was going to say, I thought this was going to be targeted.
No, nothing to do with you.
Okay.
Biting my tongue. I bit my tongue over the weekend, and it's like in the moment, I was like, oh, it doesn't hurt so bad, but I know when this heals, it's going to be like irritating to talk, and like some of the words that I pronounce are going to be like, I'm going to feel like I'm not pronouncing them right because I got this, and like food is not going to be as satisfying to eat for like a week and a half. That's what I'm dealing with right now, and I have a giant tongue, so it happens often. It's the reason I've stopped chewing as much gum. My wife hates it when I chew gum as well.
Yeah, you're a loud chewer. It's disgusting.
Yeah, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, I hate that.
I have a difficulty. I have difficulty. Oh my God, my eldest son has the thing where it like he's like triggered by the sound of people eating. He literally cannot sit
I got
at the
some
table.
of that too, and that's why it's difficult
No,
being
this
around
is
you and your
apparently
father.
yeah, it's apparently a thing. Anyways,
I once sat in the back of a car while you and your dad both ate apples, and I'll never forget it.
Anyways,
I'll never forget it.
I have a big tongue, and it's hard for me to breathe through my nose oftentimes. So okay, sorry. Anyways, sometimes I make noise when I eat, but no, I have a big tongue, so sometimes I bite it, and also I'm running on no sleep. I'm sure that also plays a part of it, where my brain isn't quite moving my jaw correctly. Anyways, it's the worst thing in the world to bite your tongue, and I'm dealing with it right now. It's like we're on the road to recovery, but we're like 60% of the way there, and it is so annoying and it is so irritating.
I hate it more when you get the like side tongue scrape, where it's not even your fault. Because you bite your tongue and you go, I'm a big dumb idiot who is chewing too fast. But when you just have the weird random, I have a cut on the side of my tongue and it's bothering you the entire day. That to me is worse, because you're like, I didn't do anything.
I feel like I don't do anything too, because I thought, there's.
Wow, yeah, you're blameless.
No,
in the biting of the
sometimes I'm like, you know what? I was chewing gum too fast. Yeah. Here's what I can do this. I can do this if I just consciously chew slower. Bang. Bite, and it's worse because it's more deliberate. Yeah. No, I'm just I can't chew.
Yeah. Okay. For me, I'm going with AI sports content.
Okay.
So, like I said, I enjoy when I get to interact with the listeners, specifically through Instagram DMs. I keep my DMs open. I try to take time when I've got a little bit of downtime and I'm just doing the random scrolling to go through some of the messages. I can't get to, all of them every day and whatever. But the weirdest thing that people send me, and my friends do this too, is when they send me AI sports content where they're like, did you see this clip of, like I saw one this week where it was the Ben Johnson, Matt LaFleur handshake, but instead it's Ben Johnson kicks Matt LaFleur in the head. Yeah, that's horrible. Or it's a media conference where all of a sudden the guy is talking with multiple expletives about their opponent or about their football team.
We saw one with John Schneider earlier. Remember during the regular season, what was it, the David Schneider home run that wasn't? And him addressing the umpires.
I don't really love any of the AI stuff, to be honest. Yeah. Like it doesn't do anything for me when I see someone make a fake content piece of a polar bear who got rescued by people on a boat, and you go, this is so fake and it's so dumb. And I've gotten tricked by AI before. I'm willing to admit that. It takes a lot to say that this has happened to me many times where I've seen something AI and go, wait, is this real? Now there are ones where it's like former greats who are giving a quote on something, and it's a lot of B-roll underneath it. And you're going, is this real? I don't know. But yeah, if you're someone who likes to send or enjoys the videos that are the clear AI sports things, and takes time to send them to people, I'm embarrassed for you, and I find those things to be unbelievably cringy, and what a waste of technology.
No, and like maybe the first ones you're like, this is kind of,
yeah, like the novelty at the very beginning, sure, but the idea that you're doing that now is embarrassing for you, and for everyone involved, that they see it or like it or do anything with it.
And you just dried up a natural lake with your AI power.
Yeah, I think about that every time with the Google search, where it does the AI overview, and I'm like,
it's not true, but
it isn't true?
No, with the environmental impact on your Google searches.
No, but I thought there was an environmental impact on it.
It's probably, it's not.
Oh, so you don't even know. You're just talking.
Yeah, neither do you.
Yeah, well, I thought I knew.
So do I.
Yeah, okay, sure.
All right. Speaking of
things I hate, people who think they know something when they don't.
Dude, this is my next category. Right. People who claim to know anything about the stock market and how it moves up and down.
I hate those people.
Yeah, it's like,
those people have cost me money.
I look at my stock ticker multiple times a day because I'm an idiot, but like I do.
Yeah, that is the idiot's way to do it.
I do it, but here's what I know. It's like I read the news too, and there's a little news story for each stock, and sometimes nothing has any correlation to what happens on the stock market. Good news in the world, bad news in the world. Who knows? Goes up, goes down. Ultimately,
how do you feel about Nancy Pelosi then?
Yeah, I mean, she knows. Like insider, I will say people that trade on inside information, like on Kalshi and like that. All right,
there's some people know.
Okay, but the people who are not doing that, that claim to know
Nancy Pelosi's.
Yeah, other than, ultimately you take a bigger, broader picture. The stock market, generally speaking, goes up if you have a long enough time horizon.
Yeah.
Yeah. But other than that, it's like, hey, you got to do this or that. It's like nobody knows. There's no rhyme. There's no reason. I've seen that there's. You can't convince me that your big brain and all the education and experience you have on the matter impacts your trading, because there's no rhyme or reason. I'm sorry.
I feel like this one could get me in a little bit of trouble because it's directly involved with where we work.
Yeah.
But when they say that a game is starting at a certain time, and then it's 30 minutes of pregame coverage instead of the actual game itself.
Liar.
And as a secondary to this, obviously there are exceptions, like Remembrance Day. But overall, I hate pregame ceremonies. When I show up, sit down and watch a sport, and they're doing an event, I'm thinking to myself, why can't we just put it out there that there's going to be a pregame ceremony a little bit earlier and get to your seats for 6:45, because the pregame ceremony is going to be 50 minutes and we're still starting the game at 7.
Yeah. No, honestly.
Like they do it with baseball. It's the best because baseball has things before every single game.
Absolutely.
But it's staggered in a way where you're in your seats or you're not really paying too much attention yet. Someone's out there throwing the first pitch. A lot of the times it's for a cause, but they still start the game at 7:07.
Yep.
And you know it's going to start at 7:07, and that's when you need to get to your seat. And so for me, I cannot stand delays on games. Again, this is probably a little too personal because I watch so much. There's so many sports.
Yeah.
But lying about the start time of a baseball or any sporting event, it makes my blood boil.
Yep.
And 2 is the pregame ceremony, of which there are many that go way too, like the Habs when they open their season. Oh my God! And it's
but don't you let that torch?
No, I hate it. I hate it.
The fans.
I hate it.
It keeps their attention.
So that's my thing.
Okay.
I hate those.
All right. Now we're doing a sports thing. I'll do a sports thing.
Okay.
I don't know if I've done a sports thing yet. Anyways, maybe this is basic, but it still gets me. The elimination of the hard tag at second base and at home plate in Major League Baseball. And we've done a better job in baseball of the home plate thing.
That's a good one.
Remember, God, a couple of years ago, there were a couple of overturned plays at the plate that were so like, how can we play this sport this way? It's not the same sport. And I understand the reasons why you don't want Buster Posey missing a whole season because he broke his leg.
Buster Posey just drank more milk. We never had this situation.
Yep. The sport is not a contact sport, except a couple of times there was contact.
And it was so exciting.
And sometimes it ended poorly. That's what happens when human beings collide. Yep. Sometimes unpredictable and bad stuff happens. Sucks. Like, I'm sorry.
No, it's like, hey, Bo Bichette got hurt this year at the plate.
Yep.
Should we just make it where it's a free pass home? I just think it sucks. It's to me, it's a big time softening of professional sports where if you look at baseball players and they can't bowl guys over at home plate and that there's one physical play that's an element of the game, like clearly the ones where it's like you get your spikes up and you're just spiking a player, you can say, all right. But
but even that, like that's not everybody. And there's a dynamic to that. It's like,
also you're supposed to be able to police your own games where it's like, if you do that, now we're going to plunk you.
Man, I love me a good plunking.
Yeah. So
I will say the only thing is the neighborhood play at second base, and the review would make it different, but whatever. I miss that element of Major League Baseball. It's not a physical game, right? Got it. There were two things that were human beings making physical hard contact, and it's gone.
Okay, let's start to rapid fire through this because we've gone too long. I'm going with ushers who take their jobs too seriously.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, when you're at a baseball game, you're at any sporting event, and you've got the usher who's coming down and trying to police and check seats and, who's telling you that you can't do this and you can't do that and getting involved in the game. Nah. It's like, why did I even buy a ticket to come to this thing? You're going to be on my ass the entire time. I like a cheeky usher. I like the usher who gives you the little wink when you're up to no good and decides. It's true. That's the best. One time I stuck a flask into a game in my 20s. And an usher caught me and he gave me the wink and he went, I see you. It's all right. It was a World Juniors game. Like, what does he care? Are you getting paid more because you busted the 20-year-old who successfully got the flask into the game? No. Yeah. So I like a cheeky usher and I hate an usher that's overbearing.
Yeah. Cousin of this, and this is going to apply to me this weekend, headed to a kid's hockey tournament. Overzealous hotel security guards.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Like it's one thing kids are making noise. It's like the parents are in the hallway having a couple beers.
Yeah,
like we
relax.
can't do we have to go into a room. Like just let us
especially if
be in
you've
the
got
hallway.
the whole hallway done. And
Give me a break.
Yeah, the way that they listen, there's some under the curtain stuff when it comes to the way that teams rent out hotel rooms and the business behind that.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's like if you're a hotel and you know that this is coming to your town and you're setting a fixed price for those tournaments. Yeah, maybe just give a little bit of leeway. When you don't know how long your fly has been down.
Yeah, I will say I'm obsessive compulsive about certain things and putting my keys and wallet in one spot and doing up my fly every time I leave the bathroom, checking 3 times.
Yeah,
so this doesn't apply to me.
I'm just saying there's nothing worse than when you catch it and you realize this could have been an eternity. This could have been, like I didn't just come from the bathroom, I didn't just walk out the door. This is like a situation where it's in the middle of the day and you go, God, I haven't been to the bathroom in hours. Like this is just, who knows when this occurred.
Yeah.
It's a devastating feeling to think about how many people saw this and didn't comment on it. And you talk to the cute girl, the cute barista, and you don't know if you had your fly down the entire time she saw. Yeah, it's a tough one.
I had a fly one as well. Button flies, I hate. I have multiple.
Who likes a button fly?
I don't. I think people
they still
do.
Make them?
Yeah, I think that people do the Seinfeld thing. The last place I want is like the metal teeth, and it's like button flies are impossible to do up. Alex Rodriguez being a member of society in good standing now. Like why? How? What did he? Urinated on somebody's floor.
Yeah.
The Howie Clark, the multiple steroids things, including after everybody said, okay, it was bad and everyone should have known it was bad. But now it's on the books, getting busted for steroids again. Now it's just like, there's A-Rod in good standing.
Yeah.
Hate it.
Okay, I'm going to rip through some. To your A-Rod point, for me, my version of that was Tony Romo. This weekend, he said, quote, one of these teams has a chance to go to the Super Bowl, end quote. Here's the thing. I'm a TV snob. I understand this. I know it's easy to pile on Tony Romo right now, but the reason why when I'm a TV snob is when something is so egregious, it takes me out of the moment. It takes me out of the show. And Tony Romo is the version of that for a football game where it's like, I'm just trying to enjoy this game and you're taking me out of it because I'm noticing how bad you are. I have all reviews. The lesson is lost. People aren't perfect. They make mistakes. Some things are out of your control.
Yes.
It's about how you respond to those things. And review has largely been crappy. And there's very few times where I look at review and I'm like, wow, that was such a great get. I'm so glad we have that. And the exception to this is when it benefits my team.
Yeah.
When someone hogs a shared snack, I don't want to be on your snacking schedule. I don't want to have to feel like I'm competing with you for the shared dish.
That's
like,
me. You're talking directly
no, I'm not
to me.
talking directly to you, but I'm just saying that if it's clearly meant to be a shared snack and you're just pounding away at it and not even moving from the shared snack, and then I'm basically in a position where I have to get in there or I get nothing, it drives me up the wall. And then I won't eat any, and I'll just stare at that person and quietly hate them.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, man, I got so many more.
Yeah.
Dear God. Door-to-door solicitors that won't immediately go away. You get one chance. I'll be very cordial right away.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm sorry, not interested. And then if you say, what? And like you say one more thing instead of just walking away, oh my God, you've lit the fuse. I could not, you've actually ruined my night because I will like be so mad the rest of the day. Weeds, owning a yard. It's like, well, how do they grow back so quickly? You pull them, you do whatever, you spray them. How?
These are a lot of dad stuff. Yeah, that's a lot of dad things.
That's 2 in a row.
Friends who ask for separate bills when you get 1 to 3 beers at a bar.
Yeah, I've experienced that with you. You're not a fan of that.
It drives me nuts.
Yeah.
It's like it's my turn, your turn. Like just keep some form of internal ledger.
Yeah.
Or don't just pay for the 1 to 3 beers.
Okay, last one for me.
Yeah.
How important the short game is in golf. Golf, it's like, and I know, it's because I suck at the short game. It's
dad list continues.
That's not dad list. That's people that play golf list. Anyways, it's like, you're taking 4 to 5 to 6 shots on a hole. Like half of them are within 50 yards and 2 at least are on the green, generally speaking. It shouldn't be so important to the sport is with the putter. Give me a break.
All right, we got to go. Frank Crupi next. Frank Crupi is here, a.k.a. Hockey Illuminati. in my opinion, the heartbeat of Leafs fandom right now, especially on social media. A guy who, hey, actually, you know what? I'm just going to start with this. You lost a friend recently, Kevin Wilson, who worked at a Loblaws, became well known to Leafs Nation because Bobby McMahon, in particular, wore in his vest to a Leafs game. It got highlighted by Elliot Friedman, by a lot of others, the guys from Chicklets, and you had been doing this for quite some time. You've got a GoFundMe. It's on your Instagram page, Hockey Illuminati. I do want you to tell me about him, but I just will say this: like, that is one of the reasons why I think that, you know, you are who you are, is that sports, to me, the beauty of it is how it can bring people together. That we do, and I'm not trying to get overly preachy with this, because and I've said this before, that we do live in a more isolated society now. That social media and just the accessibility of things that you have at home, declining rates of people, you know, doing communal events, it has resulted in a world where more and more people are isolated, and there are fewer and fewer things that bring us together. It's why, like, so McKee originally pitched to me the idea of us doing Canada Talk, like after each Canada Day game, doing a version of Leafs Talk. And it would get good numbers, and it would have been good for us probably career-wise. And I went, absolutely not. Because the thing that I really miss about, like, from doing Leafs Talk is I don't get to go to a lot of games. I don't get to go to watch in the bars. When I was home over the Christmas holidays, I got to watch the Sens game with my brother and a bunch of Sens fans. I went, all right, like, this is why I fell in love with this.
Yeah.
This is such a huge part of why this matters, is that everyone wanted to get together for the Sens Leafs game. They wanted to sit down on a couch, want to crack a few beers, and want to make fun of each other for 3+ hours, and then roll that into a night of entertainment.
Yep.
And one thing I think that you do extremely well is that you make sure that the tent is very expanded. That's what sports are about. Is like, it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, or, you know, what your political leanings are, you know, what you do for a living. You're supposed to be able to have this bond of sport. And for the Leafs, they marketed themselves as this. It was the passion that unites us, and it hit people our age at the perfect time, when it really was about, hey, this is supposed to unite you, even though really the underlying tone was the trauma. Hey, you know, hey, we suck, but it is the passion that unites us.
The trauma bonding that unites us.
Yeah, and I just thought that this story and the way that you raised funds and awareness for this guy, Kevin, a great Leafs fan, was a part of what you do. So, yeah, thanks for that. And then, yeah, I do want you to tell us a little bit about Kevin and, yeah, how people can donate.
Yeah, thank you. Really sweet. And it's certainly not all me. There's been a lot of people involved that have been a part of bringing awareness to Kevin and his story. And, you know, social media is curated to present only the best of people's lives and the best of the best, you know, for the most part, right? And what I try to do as an authentic, raw creator is express my fandom and my culture, or Leafs culture, I should say, in a way that is unfiltered. And sometimes that's going to be critical of the team. Sometimes that's going to be overly optimistic and loving the boys, supporting the guys, bringing people to the forefront that are fans, and sharing the authentic side of Leaf Nation. And that's just kind of what I do. And this story happened to evolve based on a close friendship with this gentleman, Kevin, that I developed working at the Loblaws. I was the cart guy there. You know, I'd see him a number of times during the week going in. And, you know, Leaf Nation, there's no hockey team on planet Earth that has more fans than the Maple Leafs, right? And I can honestly say, and I've met a lot of them, certainly not all of them, but this man, Kevin, who passed away at only 48, way too young, was legitimately one of the biggest, most diehard Leaf fans in Leaf Nation. And all Kevin wanted was to see the Buds win the cup. You know, that's all we all want. And to connect with fans in the community. Like, our relationship started with him wearing Leaf jerseys on game day. He always had a John Tavares jersey. Bobby McMahon was his favorite player, but every game day he had a JT jersey. And it started with a little nod on game day. You know, you'd walk in and be like, yeah, 2 points tonight. Let's go, man. Little fist bump. That's it. That's how our relationship started. And then it evolved to every day, or not every day, every time I would see him, talking about the Leafs. What happened last night? Did they do this, to that? Oh, Wall was terrible last night. Put me in that. And he, like, sometimes thought that he could go in that. Yeah. And, like, you know, like, he had dreams. He wanted to play for the Leafs one day, you know?
He thought it was like Jean-Claude Van Damme in Sudden Death.
Yes. And he believed it. And sometimes I'd hear him in the aisles picking up groceries, and he'd be like, holy Mackinac, Illuminati, did you see the goal last night from Matthews? And he'd sprint down the aisle with the carts. He'd give me a hug. But, we just developed like a brother energy. And it hit me hard when and not just me, but everybody in the community, because this guy was loved in the Fort York community and had a lot of friends. And our goal was to raise $5,000 for him. We're now at 40.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people involved in that. There's a lot of people that are involved in that. So for anybody that's donated or shared that link, or just sent love and good vibes Kevin's way, he doesn't have really any family other than his wife. And all Kevin wanted, when I spoke with his wife on the phone the other day, she said to me, all Kevin wanted was to have friends.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got a lot of friends. And last thing I'll say about the hockey community, there's some people outside of the hockey community will point and say, oh, hockey culture is kind of toxic, And like all cultures, there are elements of toxicity in all cultures. Okay, sure, there's a history of things that have happened in hockey, but this is an unbelievable expression of what the hockey community really is, and that's coming together. I'm surprised, but I'm not, at the way that the hockey community has rallied around this young man to support his wife, and I'm touched by everybody that's
the thing that you talk about when you discuss like the early iterations of your guys' relationship is again one of my favorite things about sports.
Yeah,
is during the Blue Jays playoff run, when you're seeing people in Blue Jays hats and you get to just have that small little interaction on the street.
It's the best.
Got to get it tonight.
Yeah,
and then buddy, that little tiny moment,
quiet understanding
after a win, walking out of there, fist bumping a stranger and having what can be just like, that 10-second, 30-second conversation.
Yeah.
And then moving on, and how much that can uplift your mood, how much that can actually matter to you. And again, a lot of people do this, but I think you do a great job of it with the content that you make and just kind of who you are as a guy. That's it for you, is you love the communal aspect of the fandom. That when you're out there, it's like you're doing a lot of, interaction with people. And most of them which don't know, that you're doing social media stuff. They just want to talk about the Leafs. They want to be excited about the Leafs and trying to capture some of that, I think is really great, especially given what I think some of the atmosphere has become down at that arena. Not lately, though. Lately, it's actually kind of...
Yacht Club's waking up a little bit.
Lately, it feels like there's actually a real vibe to Maple Leafs games, especially since they've gotten off the mat. So let's go there, because I want to do Marner's return and kind of your gut feel. Yeah, exactly.
What do you mean? It's not Marner. It's Nick Waugh's return to Vegas.
Nick Waugh's return, but yeah, Mitch Marner's first game against the Toronto Maple Leafs, which gets scheduled in Vegas, which, what a miss by the NHL schedule makers. I can't stop talking about it because it really does aggravate me that they put this thing in January and then they put both of them back to back. One of them's coming off of a back to back for Vegas, and that the first one doesn't happen to be in Toronto. But yeah, there's this change. You mentioned it. You can be critical of the team, but overall, you're an optimist. You and I have shared many texts this year at the very beginning of the season where you started being like, I don't know. And then I slowly watched the decline become you went, all right, I'm taking a knee. This season's done. I hate this team. They're garbage.
We were all there.
Yeah.
Now, but I still held some belief in my heart. I never
Everyone
completely, yes. Well, not everybody, but.
No, so I think deep down, if you're, okay, because there's some Leaf fans who I think they're so beaten down by it year over year that their only way of expressing fandom is that the team is now just a point of frustration, which I actually don't even have a problem with. Like, I was talking about this with Ennis the other day, how, one of the only things that drives me crazy about sports positivity culture, and this happened because of, did you see the Jaguars reporter that asked that question that was like, hey, keep your head up or whatever? And I was like, people made too big of a deal out of it.
Yeah.
But I don't like the idea that everybody has to be positive about a hockey team or a sports team all the time, because you know what? Some people, the way that they root is through just having an outlet where they get frustrated.
Yeah.
And to me, that's no big deal. Like, it's not my favorite thing in the world when someone's just, you're watching a game with somebody and the entire time they're just kicking the team in the stomach and telling you how bad they are. And even if they win, you're like, oh, let's see it in the playoffs. That one, you're like, can I just enjoy this one night, please? I get it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I don't like trying to police the way that people fan. So I do think there are a large portion of fans that just have it as an outlet for frustration. That being said, I think that just being a sports fan in general, there is always this little part of you, even it might be small, it might be the little Grinch heart, That's
the little kid heart.
Yeah, that little
It's the
kid heart
8-year-old
part of you
Frank.
that goes, man, it'd be cool to see them get it done, though.
Yeah.
Hey, like, but what if it gets it done? And if when you have those quiet moments and you watch a victory or you watch a team come together and play a game, you start to do that. And I like that too. But again, given where they were at the beginning of the Christmas break, I think that most people, myself, yourself included, looked at it and said, all right, this is probably going to go one of two ways. They get around a playoff spot and they hang around, and it feels very much like the mid-2000s where you're not actually serious, but you're going to win enough games where it's going to put you in a stupid 9 seed.
Yeah.
Or you're going to lose a bunch of games, be crappy, and all of a sudden, much like the 2000s again, convey a high draft pick to the Boston Bruins that haunts you for the next decade, and Leaf fans point to and go, can you believe that this happened again? And all of a sudden, it has turned around in a way that, yeah, I don't remember a turnaround. I was talking about this with Myrtle yesterday, where they were this bad and then started to look this good. And yesterday, whatever, it's a burn the tape game, right? It's just you played it back-to-back. It's in Utah. They go down early, and you know they're not going to come back after playing that many minutes in the altitude in Colorado.
I thought they might. I stayed up for the third.
I went to sleep after the third goal.
I couldn't. The little kid in me was like,
no,
you know
actually,
what, Frank, hold on.
Because I watched the second period. I watched the entire second period, and I went, yeah, okay, there's no way I'm surviving an intermission. That this is it for me.
The degenerates were up late.
Yeah, no, I did the night before, and I'm doing the Leafs talk for this one, and I do the show at 9 a.m. It just wasn't going to happen. But to you, what do you think has been the biggest reason for this turnaround?
So there's so many different elements to it, and it's so...
For sure.
I don't know if it's as simple as like, did the boys feel bad that one of their mates got fired right before Christmas? Mark Savard.
Wow, you have that one, at the top?
One of them. No, not at the top. I'm gonna give some little ones. What I have at the top is Matthews. It's Matthews turning it around. This team is only going to go as far as 34 and 88 take them, and they obviously there's other factors as well. Goaltending. It's a team game, top to bottom, but. Something, I don't know what Matthews did over Christmas. I don't know what he did. Poppy, whatever you did, we love it. We love it, okay? Because physically, he just looks different. He wasn't carrying the puck through the zone the way that we've seen him in these last couple of weeks. The shot, we hadn't really seen, we saw little glimpses of it. The way he would steal the puck and stick check people, just the way he was engaging and battling physically looked so different. And I think it started with him. And there was a lot of criticism being pointed at the whole team, but especially him. And I think as well, the timing of the Sundin goal passing was interesting.
I agree. Okay? I have this as I have a 2-part theory for Matthews that I'll give you after this.
Yeah, and I think, he started to get hot right around that time, and I think it was almost like, hey guys, don't forget like who I am and what I've done in this market, and things are bad right now, and I'm adjusting playing without Mitchie, and this team looks a lot different, and structurally we're trying to figure this out, and we got a ton of injuries. And then this beautiful moment happens where he starts approaching, passing Sundin's goal record, and I think it maybe gave him it reminded him of maybe who he is a little bit, give him a little bit of internal confidence. He starts putting the puck in the net, but also physically he's just healthier. Again, I don't know what happened, but that's where the turnaround started. It starts with your captain. It starts with him yelling at the refs, which he's been doing, little things that you want your leader to do, just showing more emotion. At the end of the day, I think what fans were so frustrated at Matthews or anybody in general playing with the Leafs is just all we want other than obviously to put a banner in the rafters. All we want is to see the boys empty the tank most nights.
And no apathy. Right.
And I get that it's an 82-game schedule. You can't go balls to the wall every single night, okay? But most nights you should be, okay? And we weren't seeing that from the team and especially from our captain. And then we started seeing that, and then there was a trickle-down effect, and now you have it, from Matthews all the way down to Easton Cowan, who's a kid. Everyone playing with a little more passion, a little more rough and tumble, a little more vigor. We're protecting the goaltender. They're engaging after the whistle. So there's a lot of different things, but for me, it's as simple as it starts with the guy who's wearing your captaincy saying, okay, fellas, hop on my back. I'm going to lead the way.
So in a weird way, I actually feel as though, and maybe this is just me, maybe this is just my own thing, but I feel as though his turnaround has actually been a little underrated. we've seen stats like Mike Kelly does a great job of constantly putting out on social media like once every 3 days the discrepancy of early season Matthews versus the guy that we're seeing now.
Yeah.
And with a team where he is familiar and there are some things that are newer, there is more of a tendency to point to things like Troy Stetcher and Scott Lawton and Nick Waugh and the impact that those guys have had than just simply saying what it is that you just put out there, right? Like I do think that we're overlooking it to a certain degree how great he has been. I agree with your theory about the Sundin chase. I do think it's 3 things. I'll say 3. One of them is what you said. My belief? Yeah, my belief is that part of that Sundin goal chase, it looked like for a while he was going to limp his way into that.
Yeah, it was sad.
Yeah,
it was looking sad, yeah.
That it was this story of, all right, it's an inevitability, but who's really going to celebrate it? And everybody's down on him, and it's going to be like an empty net goal here and, a garbage time goal there. And all right, he's going to get it, but given the state of the team, who gives a crap?
Yeah.
And instead, the way that he did it was multi-goal games. All of a sudden, the pursuit went from, well, he's actually a little bit of ways away to, oh, we're here tonight. Oh, this could happen this evening.
Yeah.
And I think it did wake something up in a goal scorer where he went, all right, like to your point about who I am, just the joy of scoring goals, the joy of playing hockey.
Yeah.
And that coincided with a group, and this is number 2, that was more fun to play with, that was taking pressure off of him. All of a sudden, Scott Lawton did return. All of a sudden, they did bring in Troy Stetcher. You had these 2 guys that were all of a sudden getting more opportunities because they were missing William Nylander, and they were forced to inject more of the depth guys that have that give a crap meter, that empty the tank stuff that you're talking about, pervasive through every single game. The desperation of a guy like Troy Stetcher. And I made this point. I was talking yesterday to Bucci and Saravelli about how we've all gone to work in a place where it sucks to show up and you don't like your coworkers, and how draining that is on you.
Yeah.
When people don't pull their weight. When you're going to work and it's the same thing every day where you show up and it's just, the other people around you are passive and they're not really doing what you expect and it's kind of all on you, it just wears you out. And I think Matthews had kind of gotten to that point, especially early on in the season where it was, hey, Matthews, look at what Dakota Joshua looked like. Look, your Easton Cowan had a couple of games early in the season where he was the Leafs' best player, a 20-year-old kid who wasn't even really supposed to be on the team this season.
Insane.
That's nightmare situation. All of a sudden, there was real depth around him that was contributing away and guys that were having fun. And you saw the locker room start to shift. You started to see the bench start to shift. You started to see the fans start to shift a little. It started with him doing the, boo me now situation where they were galvanized as a team. I think he's having more fun at work. And then the third thing is just, I refuse not to believe that some of it was wanting to ramp up his play ahead of the Olympics, that he is the captain of Team USA. They had a crushing loss to Canada the year before. He got a bunch of criticism within the United States. This is a guy who started off throughout his career, and people went, well, he's probably going to be the greatest American-born player ever, right?
Golden boy, yeah.
Yeah, had Mike Modano on this pod, and is like, hey, how great is this guy? What does he mean to USA hockey? It was one of those things.
Yeah.
This is a huge hinge moment for him where he's going to be in his prime, playing against Team Canada as the captain of the American team. That's not a guarantee in 4 years. Like, far from it.
With his injury history, maybe not.
This could be his biggest shot. So I think it's those 3 things that all came together and have caused Austin Matthews to drastically shift his play and find his legs again and find that hunger for the net and that wrist shot.
Yeah. A happy Poppy means that Leaf Nation is happy.
Yeah.
When we see Matthews, and that's really like another element to this, is like we just want to see Matthews smiling. We want to see.
I want to see the swagger. I want to see the swagger beyond the outfit that he's wearing to the arena every day.
Yeah.
I want to see it on the ice.
Yes. So it's a breath of fresh air, and all the other guys you mentioned, Lawton, Stetcher, like the glue guys, like the vibes around this team are just different. And, Stetcher doing this, winking into the camera, the boys having fun with Easton Cowan, and just looking and acting more like a team. We don't usually see Leafs acting like that. You know what I mean? And
they used to have far more reserved guys. Like you think about the likes of Camp or Engvall, and it's just those guys were not pump up the crowd types.
Well, just even in general, like throughout the course of like the last 10 years I've been watching, like it Leafs, and just really quickly going back to what Bobby McMahon did, like and we've talked about this before. I think there's somewhere along the line there's a bit of a disconnect that started between like the organization and the fans a little bit.
Big time.
What I mean? And the players and the fans. And what Bobby did putting that vest on kind of bridges the gap a little bit. Okay. Matthews the other week, he showed up at an elementary school just randomly, right? That bridge is little things like that may seem like little things, but they are massive, massive things because at the end of the day, we're two separate entities, but the fan base and the players, we are one. And we're all going after the same thing.
Yeah, it's why I always get so pissed off when they have their exit interviews at the end of the season, is because, and it's like to kind of pivot into the Marner stuff. This is what killed me about Mitch. I know he's not the most eloquent guy, right? It's just not who he is.
Yeah.
But this is someone who grew up in the GTA, who pushed himself as a Leaf fan. He made that video, like, I'm here, Toronto is home, the Drake thing, like, I can't see myself anywhere else. I just want to hear from you from time to time what it means to be a Maple Leaf and have it just be earnest.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing worse to me than people go, we know these fans want to win. You go, but do you? Because it seems at times like you actually resent the coverage and misunderstand that this is for a starved fan base that is dying for any ounce of look into the team, added viewing of the team. To your point about emptying the tank, that's really what they want from you, is not the passivity, is not the games where it just looks like you didn't have it tonight.
Show us you care.
Yes. And so it seemed like small stuff, and it definitely, to me, is a little bit of overdoing it at times, where I do take a lot of the frustration of the season and put it onto these exit interviews when guys are frustrated. But it, to me, is emblematic of just being able to show a little humanity and be a real person and go, God, we're sick that we disappointed people this way.
Yeah.
And yeah, you show it with your play more than anything. But if you do let people down, to take that accountability and try to understand what it is that you did wrong in order to move forward. And if you're constantly pushing back on that, how am I ever going to expect you to change? You're right. It does feel like there is a mix of players that fit the market more with the depth, but they are also contributing on the ice. It should also be stated in terms of the Matthews energy level, it's got to take a lot off the guy, knowing he doesn't have to be Mr. Defense the entire game, that they do have the likes of Scott Lawton, that they do have the likes of Nick Waugh down the middle who can take D-zone faceoffs and be incredibly well-suited to play defensive hockey. Like, they play that game against Colorado. They're protecting a 3-2 lead, and I know they blew it, but he doesn't have to go out there and be double-shifted to try to slow down Nathan McKinnon. There's other guys now that they feel like they can rely upon that don't have to just play 8-9 minutes a hockey game and boost those numbers to the roof. So, yeah, I think the Matthews thing is huge. I think the personality mix is massive. The luck that they fell into in terms of desperation-type players in Lawton and Stetcher coming back and one joining the team at the time that they did is a huge part of this turnaround. So, yeah, yesterday sucked. It is what it is. But my God, are they going to be measured heavily in terms of the way that they play against this Vegas team? So the Marner stuff. It's so nice that it doesn't feel as big as it would have had this team been 500, slightly over 500 going into this game and well out of a playoff picture. That there is a secondary storyline, which is that this team has turned it around. But what are you feeling heading into this game? Because now, like, Avalanche took some attention. Utah takes a little attention. Now that's done. And here we are the night before these two guys or this team and that player face off for the first time.
Yeah. What I'm most excited to watch tomorrow night is how the Leafs treat him, how they engage with him. So what happened with Lawton when he went back to Philly last week? There was zero love loss, right? He had some of his ex-teammates up in his face, and obviously they still have a connection in behind the game, but there was no love loss.
Konechny was kind of celebrating his tribute video.
Right.
There won't be a tribute video tonight, though.
Right.
So they're not going to be this moment where guys are stick tapping on the
right
on the boards.
That'll be a different story when it's in Toronto. But I'm just genuinely curious to see how the players treat him. Are they going to be still kind of like buddy-ish with him, like little
Can't
wings,
do that.
little smiles here? And I hope
disconnect with the fans. That would be a true blue disconnect with the fans if you're buddy-buddy with them.
And I'm glad you said that. And I think that, listen, at the end of the day, we can say whatever we want about Marner. Not everyone is meant to play in this market. Okay. It's a privilege to play for the Leafs. It's a privilege to wear this crest. Okay. Some people really get that. Some people don't. Okay. And it's people like Kevin. We have this story. It's little things like that show us why it's so special to play for this franchise. And with the unbelievable privilege and all the perks and all the beautiful things in this market that are there if you're winning, you also have the complete opposite. Okay, the veil between heaven and hell is very thin in Toronto, and some people can't deal with the ambiguity of that veil. Marner was one of them. Okay, Salu. At the end of the day, he left us, right? The Leafs wanted to bring him back.
Yeah.
They wanted to bring him back. I'm glad they didn't because they had to move on from that identity in that era. But at the end of the day, he left. And
Could you imagine they tried to propagate DNA change as a slogan if they paid Mitch Marner $13.5 million?
Oh, boy.
Season?
Woo. We'd be having some fun chats. But he's JT wanted to stay here. Nylander, Matthews. You have these free agents that have come in. You know, Nye's left money on the table. Tavares left money on the table. Stoller's even probably left a little money on the table. He could have done better in free agency this year if we wanted to. All these guys wanted really badly to be here. And Mitchie did the opposite. He ran. So I just hope, which is fine. Again, he can do whatever he wants. You're in the right to be a free agent. But I hope the boys, I hope there is no love lost. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And they really do send a bit of a message to him. It's more important to send a message to the league that this team is for real. And we're not soft anymore. And we don't care if we were your teammate at one point. We're coming for you tonight, bud.
That was actually one of the things I liked about last night's game through the 2 periods that I watched. I did not watch the third. Is Leafs clearly were just getting skated into the ground by a young, hungry team on home ice after an altitude game against the Colorado Avalanche. But there was a chippiness in the way that they stuck up for one another.
Yes.
And it hasn't been perfect. Like there was the moment recently where Lawton gets buried from behind and he's got his teammates watching. You'd like to see a scrum there. You'd like to see someone look at Scott Lawton and say, I'm not going to allow someone to hit you like that, and I'm going to throw off the gloves. But for the most part, even the biggest hater would probably agree they have done a much better job at sticking up for one another this season and having a little bit more nastiness, especially from the guys on their back end around their net, right?
Yeah.
Like Oliver Ekman-Larsson is basically a guarantee every single night.
Oh, I love him so much. OEL's the greatest.
And I talked to Sam Hallam, the head coach of Sweden. He was on the show a couple of weeks ago or a week ago about why he made the team. And one of my follow-ups was like, the nastiness. You're going to be playing in the Olympics. And he went, absolutely. That's a part of the game that we want from this guy is that he has evolved into a dude that brings that element of edge to our hockey team. And you go, yeah, correct.
He's always yipping.
Yeah.
It's great.
He's always getting into it with somebody. I love it. It's such a great part of who he is with this team.
Yeah.
But I actually disagree with you in the sense of the more important thing here is to show the league who you are. Yes, of course, you want to be able to get 2 points. And I'm not saying that Mitch Marner should throw these guys completely off their game and they just chase them around all night and then end up getting beaten 5-1 because they're in the penalty box all night.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, what is more important than the 2 points in this circumstance is what you're talking about with how they interact with him.
Yeah.
Because if you ask me, hey, what would you rather have? 2 points against Vegas or a moment where Matthews cross-checks Marner hard and yaps at him as he goes to the penalty box? I'm taking the Matthews thing 10 out of 10 times.
It's a good question. Can we get 1 point with that? Because we really need points, JD.
I know.
The margin for error is very thin in the East.
I get it. I'm just telling you that what would make me happier is having a moment where Matthews or Nylander really got into it with Mitch Marner and had a physical moment. And if the team in general thought, we've played with this guy for a long time, and we know he doesn't love it when the game turns into beating him up a little bit.
Yeah.
Again, not to the point where it's clownish. I don't want to see, for example, Max Domi just skating around all night, chasing him, trying to get him to have a fight. Like, that's not who Mitch Marner is. And I think that you'll look a little stupid if it becomes a complete sideshow in the game.
Yeah.
I'm saying an organic moment. He's around the net. Matthews in front of the net. Marner takes one little extra swing at a puck, and Austin Matthews, the captain of the Maple Leafs, cross-checks him and gives him like a, what are you doing? And Marner looks at him like, how could you do this? I'd take that over the 2 points.
Yeah.
100%.
You know what?
I would.
It's beautiful
and
in my
everyone
mind.
would say that's stupid. I don't care. That's just how I feel.
Okay, we'll take that, but then they got to win the next 3 in a row.
Sure.
Okay? They need 6 their next 6
I like
points.
How you keep negotiating this.
I have a negotiator.
You're a negotiator. You want a good deal.
Yes, of course I want a good deal. There's going to be a lot of Leaf fans in that building tomorrow night, by the way. So the Leafs travel very, very well on the West Coast, and it's not going to be like...
Especially that game.
It's not going to be like when they go to Edmonton or Calgary and it's like half and half, but like, I don't know, maybe it'll be like two. Maybe it'll be a third.
But it's also not the Edmonton or Calgary game, too, where you're going usually with a couple of your buddies because you live there who are from Calgary.
Yeah.
So you're keeping the emotion amongst you and your friends a little bit more in check.
Mhm.
This is the degenerates who have traveled because they've probably put money on the Maple Leafs.
Yeah.
They've put money on a Matthews goal, and they traveled to go see them play Mitch Marner and probably despise Mitch Marner. So my hope is that collection of Leaf fans that are going to this game, and DM me, by the way, if you are going to this game, because I do want to know, at JD Bunkis, what you're thinking if you are heading to the Vegas game tonight. My hope is that it is like a lunatic crowd.
Yeah, that would be great.
Like it's the in some ways the worst of us.
Well, Leaf fans, we're with you.
Mm-hmm.
The diehards are with you on the road tomorrow night. Be loud, be proud. Try and boo Mitchie a little bit. Maybe throw him off his game at his old rig.
That would be great.
And it's gonna be great theater. And the Leafs need, they went into this road trip. I said they need 6 of 8 points. I don't care how they get them or who they get them against, but you got 4 games on the road. Find a way to get 6 of 8. Okay, so you got to get 2, unless Matthews, does cross check Mitchie like you said, and maybe get in his face a little bit. Then maybe we can have 1. But yeah, the margin for error is it's razor tight in the East, and they got to keep stacking points.
Well, yeah, this is the frustrating element. It's like I'm trying to pull it up what the numbers are here, but like the Atlantic Division over the same stretch.
Oh, it makes my eyes bleed. I don't even want to look at it.
It's incredible.
I didn't even.
Yeah, this is it. I got it. So across the last 50 games combined from the top 5 teams in the Atlantic, Detroit, Tampa Bay, Montreal, Toronto, and Buffalo.
Yeah.
They're combined of 40 wins, 6 losses.
Like, why is it so leafy?
Overtime losses. That's over 10. That's over 10 games each. Plus 73 goal differential. 18-1 against Western Conference opponents.
Why is the Atlantic like this every year?
18-1. Now 8. Yeah, I guess that is last night, right?
We can't catch a break. Every year,
does
something
that include
different.
the Leafs losing to Utah? No, it doesn't. So it's 18-2. So yeah, 18-2.
Every year, it's something different. Florida's a wagon. Boston's a wagon. Tampa's a wagon.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, now everyone's a wagon.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Yeah. It's so leafy that the Atlantic is just like the Avengers assembling every year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where's Vegas in the standings right now? How many?
Not where? Hold on. I looked at this the other day because I was looking at Utah and how Utah is right there with it. It's a little muddied, but yeah, they need points too. Like Vegas they're first. I thought that they were second behind the Oilers, but they are because the Oilers have 23 wins, but in 3 more games. So Vegas is 21-11 with 12 overtime losses. They actually have gone to overtime more than any other team in the NHL. They're playing the highest percentage of their game in overtime. So 12 losses in OT. Anyways, Frank Crupi, Hockey Illuminati. Again, go to his Instagram at Hockey Illuminati if you want to make a donation to Kevin Wilson's fund for his wife. Quick break. We'll come back, hit what we missed. So normally one of my guys is in here to ask the questions. That didn't happen. There's nobody here. There's nobody here to do this. So I will be running what we missed. All right. Number 1. Did you see the letter that Sens fans penned? Okay. We got to do this. I took a screenshot of it. So hold on. I need to get to my notes.
While you're looking, last night on my Instagram Live, we were debating with my followers would you trade Nylander for Brady Tkachuk straight up?
Yes.
Right? Like, because we're just theorizing, like, all this trauma or all this drama in Ottawa is like, that's good for the Leafs a little bit because the Sens are like a disaster right now. Yeah. And then that somehow came up, and some people were like, no, we love Willie, wouldn't do that. And I'm like, yeah, I love Willie too. Really, but like, I don't know. But we also hate Brady Tkachuk too. That's such a weird thing to even think
who wouldn't
about.
hate Brady Tkachuk?
Leaf fans when he's wearing a Leaf jersey?
Game 1.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Game 1.
I know.
That would change drastically. The first time that he gets in, he would become a supersized version of Gary Roberts.
Yeah, mixed with Darcy Tucker and some Sundin scoring ability. And
no, man, you and I just talked about the synergy between the fan base and the team and how much that matters. And I really do believe that matters. It's like,
all right, make the trade.
Yeah, listen.
Brady or a Maple Leaf.
Not going to get into everything with this story, but I talked about the Streisand effect, and someone corrected me. I thought that it was South Park that was the reason behind the Streisand effect, that it was they did that episode about Barbra Streisand. Yeah, Barbra Streisand, and that she fought them, and that it blew it out of proportion. But apparently it was something else. It was a different thing with. I got to Google it. I didn't.
Okay.
But anyways, Barbara Streisand had some controversy that she addressed, and it ended up becoming more famous because she amplified it with her voice fighting it. And that's what the Ottawa Senators did with this story, which started as horrible internet rumors. Like, that's the internet. You dig into the internet, guess what you're going to find? Ugliness.
Yes.
A lot of ugliness. Yep. And the Senators decided as a team to address this, like, top down. The organization put out a statement, and then the players commented on it, and it's ugly there. It's deeply, deeply ugly there. And instead of, again, letting it go, some Ottawa Senators, they're, what are they? It's just the Ottawa Senators fans. That's it. That's the name of their group. They're Ottawa Senators fans at gmail.com. That's on their letterhead. They wrote a letter to the Ottawa Senators players and coaching staff. On behalf of the Ottawa Senators fan base, we want to directly address the recent rumors involving Linus Ullmark and other players that have been circulating online. It's important for you to know that these narratives do not originate from the fan base. Fans did not create, push, or amplify these stories. They were force-fed into public space through external media and online speculation beyond our control. We do not want any player feeling frustration, resentment, or disappointment towards the people who support this team on a night-to-night basis. Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, that's all done. There's more to it, but I'm not going to read the entire thing. It's too long. I cannot believe the disconnect of all these parties involved in not being able to understand that the more they talk about it, the more that people like me are going to talk about it and make fun of their responses to this. Like, every single day, this is the whole thing with social media. There is a villain. There is a story. There is something that feels so huge that no one will be able to ever get past it. Mm-hmm. And then what happens? The next day comes, and there's a new main character on social media, and the story goes away. Yeah. And instead of just allowing this to happen, like, I keep waiting for another person to just make another statement about this thing to keep the story alive. Like, stop doing it. Stop involving yourself further. This is the easiest thing ever. Lay low for a little while, Senators fans. Let this thing pass, and it's going to cool off, and you're going to move on.
Yeah.
What am I missing here?
I don't know, but what I can tell you is, as a diehard Leaf fan, I enjoy watching the chaos in Ottawa, because we can't have all the teams in the Atlantic being good. You know, we need someone to fall a little bit. And yeah, like, why they've chosen to handle it the way they've handled it, I don't know. Like, if I'm lying, I'm not. I think that obviously they are rumors that caught wildfire, and
that's what happens.
There's nothing to it, but like. Why?
But this isn't the first time there have been rumors like that.
Why are you overreacting to the reply? Like, if you're lying about something and you get caught, the human condition is to, like, be really defensive, you know? But if there's nothing to hide, then it's genuinely like dirt off the shoulder. You know what I mean? So I don't know. For some reason, they got to make some noise.
I think it's nuts. I think it's absolutely nuts the way that they handled this. And if you think about how many times something like this happens across, especially other sports leagues, like the NBA, man. If you're on NBA Twitter, there's all kinds of conspiracy theories about different guys, especially when they're wanting trade requests. Again, granted, maybe not as salacious as what these accusations were, but you address them and you just make them more real, and you make them something people are going to talk about. And I don't know what Ottawa sports pods are doing, but I'm guessing it's been a lot of this.
Yeah.
It's been day in, day out discussing this. More people trying to dig into the story, more people not respecting the privacy of Linus Ullmark for whatever it is that he's going through, and an absolute tire fire. And yeah, I don't know. I don't think they're getting out of it now at this point this year. Like,
it's a write-off.
Yeah, but I just think that this is now going to become the thing that defines the season. Are you a football guy?
I am a football guy, yeah.
All right. Who's your team?
I'm a Colts guy.
Okay.
I'm a Colts guy, and I was through the moon when Phillip Rivers was coming out at age 44 to try and lead the boys into the playoffs, which did not work out. But yeah, I've been a Colts fan because of the Manning era.
Oh, I was going to say, I thought maybe the color scheme.
Yeah, well, it's worked out that way, that all my teams are blue and white.
Yeah.
But what about you?
I'm a huge Seahawks fan.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah. And I got to tell you that I'm very confident about their chances heading into this weekend against the Niners.
Oh, yeah.
That being said, it sets up. I'm not trying to relive this because it really is a dark chapter of the Maple Leafs.
Oh, let's get dark.
It does remind me a little bit of the Habs Leaf series, where the Habs were coming in and their fans were doing the like, well, we don't think we're going to win. It was just nice for us to get here.
Yeah.
And the Niners fans are doing the same thing right now. My buddies, I actually have a ton of friends who are Niners fans. and including my boss, who I don't treat like a boss in this relationship. Like it's not a very employee employer relationship when it comes to the way that we talk about football with one another. It's very very blue.
Yeah.
But they just have nothing to play for, and their fans are doing what I think is one of the most annoying things a fan base can do, which is, well, we already won our playoff game, and no one expected us to be here, and we had all the injuries. Or like my buddy who's a Bears fan hit me with this one yesterday. Like, hey, we beat the Packers, so everything else is gravy. And I go, I just think if you're this deep, you're one of the last 4 teams remaining in your conference, you should care.
Yeah.
And the idea that you're doing the whole, like, well, I'm already taking a knee thing before the matchup starts is such a...
It's a reverse jinx. Yeah, they know what they're doing.
I know, and I know that it's not the true feeling. Like, they're going to be crushed if they ended up losing the game, but it still annoys me. I really do find that to be completely lame fan behavior from everyone. That being said, when you're a 7.5 point favorite and you're at home and the other team's on short rest and they just lost their star tight end and their team is decimated with injuries, it does set you up for, like, if you win... It doesn't get remembered the same way as when the Seahawks beat the Niners last time in the playoffs, where it was 2 equal heavyweights that were playing, and it comes down to the Richard Sherman tip. It sets up for, if you win it, it's a footnote, and if they win it, it's canon.
Yeah,
it's the defining win of a decade for your team. So that spooks me a little. But the reason why I bring up the NFL is Mike Tomlin stepped down, and you and I are both believers in culture. Do you worry about the Steelers continuing their culture? A team that has had 3 head coaches. 3. Finding the next guy.
You're talking about the Leafs finding their next guy?
No, this is the Mike Tomlin question. Like, an organization like the Steelers remaining the Steelers.
Everything is impermanence. What do we mean by that? We cannot fight change.
Yeah.
Right? You cannot... That's one. Jim Leahy once said on Trailer Park Boys, one of the only constant things in life is change, and you cannot fight it. You cannot resist it. You must surrender to it. And like, you got to move on. Sometimes you just got to move on, just because that's the way it is in life. It was the same thing with Mitchie.
It's 20 years, man.
Is that how long he's been there for?
19.
Wow.
Yeah.
Take my hat off to you, Mike.
It actually made me feel
that's insane.
That one made me feel so old because I remember Bill Cowher.
Oh, man. And as a Colts fan, like we used to have some good, there was one playoff. Do you remember the playoff game when the Indy played the Steelers and there was an interception?
Yeah, of course.
One of the Colts guys intercepted it and he had been stabbed the night before by his wife and he couldn't run properly.
Yeah.
Okay.
He got tackled by Roethlisberger.
Yes, that's right. Okay. Yeah. God. And Tomlin was coaching at that point and I was like 15 when that happened.
Yeah.
Wow. 20 years. You know what? I mean, they should celebrate him. It's been a heck of a run. When he got 1 Super Bowl, 2 appearances, right?
Yeah, no wins, no playoff wins in a decade, though.
The Steelers' culture is not defined by the Mike Tomlin era. It's defined by the entire history of their franchise, right? So they will adapt. They'll move forward. I was in Pittsburgh a couple of weeks ago when the Leafs were playing, and I went to that stadium, the Steelers Stadium, and what a beautiful place to watch football.
Yeah, it is. It's a really cool sports town, but I will say this is like, and I'm going to do this more. I got Marcellus Wiley this week talking about the Ravens and the Steelers in general and like maintaining culture through huge coaching shifts like this. Anyways, we got to run. Hockey Illuminati, Frank Crupi. Thanks for joining me. Subscribe to this pod. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks, buddy.